Hey, first graders, it's great to see you back again for our second part of our lesson on wondering about big blue whale. And this book was written by Nicola Davies and illustrated by Nick Malland. And I want to start by having you think about what did you learn from the first part of the book that we read yesterday? And I'm going to give you a second to think about that. What did we learn? Great. If you said we learned that they're huge, that they're bigger than elephants, giraffes, or even dinosaurs, you are absolutely right. And we also learned that they have baleen plates instead of teeth that help them catch tiny little krill to eat. That was really interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the book today, and then we're going to have a chance to finish talking about it after. So I'm going to go to where we stopped reading yesterday. Actually, I think I'll read you the last page just to help you remember. And it says, it was talking about how the big blue whale eat krill. And it said, the water streams away and leaves the krill caught on the bristles like peas in a sieve or like a strainer. Now all the whale has to do is lick them off and swallow them. Okay, so let's keep reading. And this is how the blue whale spends the summer, eating krill and getting fat. Sounds like my kind of summer. But in the fall, the polar seas freeze over. The krill hide under the ice where the whale cannot catch them. So the whale swims away from the icy cold and the winter storms. Down here it says, in summer, the blue whale grows a thick layer of fat all over its body. This fat is called blubber, and it's a food store for the winter when the whale eats very little. Let's say blubber together. Ready? Blubber. Great. Day after day, the blue whale swims slowly and steadily toward its winter home. Its huge tail beats up and down to push it along. Its flippers steer it left or right. For 2 months and more, the whale swims until at last it reaches the calm, warm seas near the equator. And remember, the equator is the imaginary line that runs in the middle of the earth. That's the equator right there. And you might remember from kindergarten, if you were in my class, we learned about Ecuador, and we learned a lot about the equator in Ecuador because it runs right through the middle of Ecuador. Okay? And it also, you can see it also runs through Africa right here. So for 2 months or more, the whale swims until at last it reaches the calm, warm seas near the equator. There it stays all winter. And this says, some blue whales spend their summers around the South Pole and swim north to the equator for the winter. But when it's winter at the South Pole, it's summer at the North Pole. So the two groups of whales never meet. Others live around the North Pole and swim south for the winter. I'll give you a second to look at that globe because I know we all really enjoy looking at the globe. And there the blue whale mother gives birth to her baby where storms and cold weather can't hurt it. The blue whale's baby slithers from her body, tail first. Gently, she nudges it to the surface to take its first breath. Then the baby dives beneath her to take its first drink of milk. It says male and female blue whales mate in winter and then part. Babies are born about a year later. Down here it says a blue whale baby is 23 feet long at birth. That's almost, if you lined up 4 of me on the floor, that's how long the baby would be. It drinks more than 150 gallons of milk a day, sucking it from the teats tucked into its mother's belly. It's a lot of milk. All through the winter, the blue whale keeps her baby close. It feeds on her creamy milk, and it grows and grows. In spring, the two whales return to the polar seas to feast on krill together, but by fall, the young whale is big enough to live on its own. So I'm going to stop there for a second, and I want you to think in your brain, how do blue whales take care of their babies? And I'll give you a second to think about that. All right, great. Let's come back together and finish reading. So it said, but by the fall, the young whale is big enough to live on its own. So mother and young whale part, means they go their separate ways and begin the long journey back to the equator. A blue whale may travel from the polar seas to the equator and back every year of its life. Sometimes it will swim with other blue whales, but mostly it will swim alone. Yet the blue whale may not be as lonely as it seems, because sometimes it makes a hum so loud and so low that it can travel for thousands of miles through the seas to reach other blue whales. Only a very low hum could travel so far, and only a very big animal could make a hum so low. Perhaps that's why blue whales are the biggest creatures on Earth, so that they can talk to one another even when they are far apart. Who knows what they say? Here I am would be enough. And this says, adult blue whales make their hums in deep water. It's much colder than near the surface, which helps the hum to travel a long way. Because in the vastness of the green seas, even a blue whale is small and hard to find. And this is the index, which is something that we often see in a nonfiction book. And it's probably hard to see in the video, but it will tell you where you can find all the different information. So for example, it says babies. If I wanted to learn about blue whales and babies, I would go to page 22 to 25. There's the index. The end. All right, I hope you enjoyed that story. Let's have a little talk about it now. I'm wondering, what were the most surprising or interesting things that you learned about blue whales in this story? I'll give you a second to think about that. Great. So I would love to hear your ideas, but since we're on video, I'm just going to tell you some of the things that I was surprised to learn. I was surprised to learn that blue whales don't have teeth and that they use their baleen flaps to eat krill. And I was also really surprised to find out that even though they're the biggest animal or mammal in the whole world, that they eat something that's so little itty bitty and tiny. That was really surprising to me. I was also really surprised to learn that their humming sound can travel for thousands of miles. I thought that was really interesting. Okay, so I want to look back at the list I made yesterday of things we wonder about blue whales. I'll hold it up for you. And it says, I wonder how big blue whales are. I wonder if blue whales are really blue. And I wonder how many babies blue whales have. I want you to think about those questions, and I want you to think if there's anything else that you're still wondering. If there's anything else you're still wondering, this is a great opportunity for you to do some research on your own. And that means you could find other books on the internet about blue whales, or maybe you could find a video, an informational video about a blue whale that might help you learn some more, okay? So what I'd like you to do now is go back to Raz Kids or go back to your books and do some independent reading. And I want you to do really the same sort of thing that you were doing yesterday in your independent reading. When you pick a book, I want you to think about, what is this book about? Why did I choose this book? And what do you like about the book? Or what's your favorite part, okay? So thanks for joining me this week for our story, Big Blue Whale. I hope that you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week for some more Making Meaning. Take care, first grade.